Do you ever gloss over things in the Bible that we should like pay more attention to? Like this is one, Matthew 4, start of the chapter. Then Jesus, you look up in your Bible, go get a Bible, pop it up on your phone, Google Matthew 4, it's online. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted after fasting. Fasting in this, right, what Matthew wrote is that Jesus didn't eat any food, it says, for 40 days and 40 nights. Zero food. Okay, you guys got that? We're doing a 40-day prayer and worship experience, powerful worship experiences. What Jesus did is he didn't eat for 40 days. We're not going to do that. So just take a deep breath. Let me start over. You got to catch what it says next because I was blown away. Like this is in the Bible. Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted after 40 days and 40 nights. He was hungry. Like, why they didn't have to write that part? Like those, we knew that. What would happen if that was you? I'd be hungry too. I'm hungry after like 2 hours. This verse it's just funny to me. There's not much spirituality to that, but we are going to talk about fasting. Don't click off. Don't stop. Just give me a couple more minutes of your time. We are in, like I said, 40 days of powerful worship experiences here at Christ Church Flagstaff. This is our deep dive in 5 podcasts. And every Thursday, we're going to talk about fasting for just 5 minutes for the next several weeks. And maybe that's something you have a lot of experiences with, and it's really familiar to you. It's really easy. Please listen and then send me some comments. If this is like an area you're really good at, help me learn from you. But for many of us, this is a mysterious, kind of intimidating thing. And I just want you to grow and just take a couple steps forward, particular in fasting, because we've talked about praise and worship. We've talked about prayer, reading the Bible, focus, and now fasting. And it's just one day a week, a few minutes at ccf.church/2021. You can download a Devo. You can read some of what I'm referring to, this verse. I have some questions, some insight, and we're just going to learn. Fasting is basically just abstaining from something. Typically it's food, right? But now in our modern world, we have fasts from all kinds of things. Maybe you need to fast from YouTube, except for the deep dive in 5 every day, because that's cool stuff. But you need to stop your other YouTubes or your social media. I mean, fasting from the news, that's a good idea. Like that will help you, especially this last couple of weeks, right? Fasting is a chosen abstinence for a spiritual purpose. That's the definition of my friend, Alan Heller, who's a great resource. He's a counselor. He's a part of our church half the year. He lives in the Valley the other half of the year. walkandtalk.org is his website. Walk and Talk Ministries. Just so much useful information in his writing on fasting. That's what he says. Fasting is a chosen abstinence for a spiritual purpose. And sometimes we fast for health reasons. It's kind of cool right now and trending to fast to lose weight. But we're talking about a spiritual fast. And have you ever done that? Maybe in the comments or wherever you're listening to this, shoot me an email, pastorchris@ccf.church. Tell me about when you fasted for a spiritual reason. What was your experience like? I know what mine have been like. What are yours? And it's used in a way, we use fasting to sacrifice something important to us. Alan says in his teaching on fasting, in order to achieve a larger purpose. And right now, this week, as we're recording this, some of our staff team, our pastoral team, we're fasting lunch and spending the last little bit of our lunch hour just on a Zoom call together, praying. And we're skipping lunch and just actually praying for you, our church family, praying for these spiritual experiences, praying for those people who are far from God, who are stagnant, who are isolated, who are kind of self-focused, not God-focused. Are you willing to experience fasting over these 40 days? Not all at once, not 40 days. Like, hey, tomorrow we're all going to stop eating for the next month and a half. No. It's okay if your answer is actually, no, I'm not going to fast, but just, could you lean in? Could you listen to this conversation here on the deep dive? Could you read the Devo and just start to wonder, what can God do with that? Could I make a little bit more space? Be intentional. The world you and I live in is so busy. And I have found fasting over these last several years of my life to be the best way, the quickest way to just make space for God in my mind, in my heart. So grab your journal, and I want you to just write a couple things down. What your experiences with fasting, or maybe your questions. As we've just been talking about these couple minutes together, what does it bring to mind? What do you think it is? How do you think it would go? What are questions you have? Just write them down. Record where you are now on this topic. And would you take a couple of minutes, ask God to help you grow, and just go to Him and say, God, this is something I want to try. Maybe I don't know, God, but where could I practice some chosen abstinence for a spiritual purpose? And then just look at your schedule for the next few days. Just whatever day you're listening to this, it's Thursday that it came out for the first time. Maybe next week, look ahead. Is there a meal time? Is there a breakfast? Is there a lunch? That's where I would start. It's one of those two meals that you could just not eat food during that meal time. And you could just spend that half hour, 45 minutes, hour, whatever usually a meal takes for you, and just spend some time doing some spiritual practices. Maybe it's listening to some more of this podcast. Maybe it's reading this devotional that you'll find on our website, in whatever it might be. Could you just look ahead, pick a meal? I've got them on my calendar scheduled out for the next several weeks in this 40 days of spiritual experiences. Would you join us? And then just write in your journal, what happens in that hour? What did God do in those 30 minutes that you didn't go grab a sandwich, didn't go with your coworkers, or you didn't do the normal thing, but you spent some time with Him? See what happens.